Dez Bryant got cut by the team that drafted him, the Dallas Cowboys. Will he join another team? Which team will he be? Will he even be in the NFL this year? Here are the top 10 teams Dez Bryant has a chance to sign with. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. This video is sponsored by fameproject.org. Have you ever checked your phone or you're watching the TV and you see a player get in trouble or a coach get fired and you think to yourself, I knew that was gonna happen. With Fame Project, you get to use your predictive abilities to earn real money on the outcome of sports news events like the free agency, top player retirements, and yes, that terrible decision that ends in jail time. Sign up with fameproject.org for a free $10 trading credit and a 25% funding transfer bonus when you start trading today. Now on to the teams that'll take Dez Bryant, maybe. The teams that Dez Bryant will also say yes to, and they'll reach a mutual agreement. Gosh, there really isn't that much going on in the league right now. Before we get into my top 10 teams, let's discuss the topic, is Dez Bryant still good? Why has he declined the last few years? And it's pretty simple. I think it's a mixture of both. He has declined. He isn't as good as he used to be. He is past his prime. But still, Dez Bryant is a really good wide receiver. A lot of the lack of production came from Dak Prescott. They didn't have a lot of chemistry. Dak missed him on a lot of throws. It just didn't work out. Dez just did a whole lot better when Romo was there and didn't do much at all when Dak was there. Prescott missed this man on a lot of throws. A lot of the targets to Dez Bryant weren't even catchable. And that's the main reason why Dez Bryant has been lacking in production. The Cowboys cut him. Yeah, it probably wasn't worth all that money to keep him and to get Allen Hurns for much cheaper. That was probably a smarter decision, but that doesn't mean that Dez Bryant is washed up and he sucks. He will likely be a good wide receiver too on most teams, and on some teams would even be the wide receiver 1, or at least like wide receiver 1B from day one, right when he gets signed, if he gets signed. Let's start off with the 3 teams that I'm very confident he will not go to. And first of all, that's the Cowboys. Will the Cowboys sign him for cheap and bring him back on the team? No way. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the Cowboys would do that. And if there was any bridges left to burn, they burned them 10 times over. And there's no way Dez Bryant would go to the Cowboys. I think this would be one of the last teams he would want to go to, if that's even a possibility. He'd think of that, and he may not even be in the league. If it was either the Cowboys or no other team, he may just not be in the NFL anymore. Then we have the Ravens. The Ravens apparently are not interested in signing Dez Bryant. Oh wait, actually, Dez Bryant is not interested in signing with the Ravens. Get your news together, CBS. And a popular team that always comes up are the New York Giants. Of course, they play the Cowboys twice. They are a Super Bowl contender. They're a great team. They got a good quarterback. But I don't think this is going to happen. They have very little cap space. They probably could make it work and sign Dez Bryant to a 1-year contract or whatever he's asking for, especially if Dez Bryant's willing to take a little bit of pay cut to get revenge on his old team. But I don't think this is going to happen. They have a lot more to worry about. They have a lot of young players, including Odell Beckham, who will require a big contract, and I'm sure they want to pay that guy. He's an elite wide receiver. He's young. They definitely want him on their team next year. And in order to do that and sign other players, I don't think getting Dez Bryant's going to be good. Plus, they have a lot of offensive weapons, including Saquon Barkley, who's a good pass catcher, Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, and even more wide receivers. It's a lot of weapons there. Here's my top 10 list. Let's start off with number 10. That's the least likely, and work our way up to the most likely team he would end up with. And number 10 is kind of like a no. I just wanted to round it up. Instead of doing the top 9 teams, I want to do the top 10. So number 10 is the Oakland Raiders. I think this would be an okay fit for Dez Bryant, but I don't see it happening. They don't have much cap space, And they also just got Jordy Nelson, Dez Bryant, and Martavis Bryant. The Martavis Bryant suspension thing, as of now, is basically a rumor. So that essentially means, yeah, it might happen, but I haven't seen any evidence pointing towards an actual suspension. It's a little bit weird. I mean, the league could have just said, like, hey, he's going to get suspended for a year. Instead, we're kind of just hearing rumors. And keep in mind, there's not a lot of news going on right now, guys. So this made it to the top of the list that Martavis Bryant, got my Bryants mixed up. Martavis might get suspended a whole year. It just doesn't hold any water. It might happen, but it may not. So unless that happens and he's suspended, I don't see Dez going to the Raiders. Washington is number 9 on my list. This would be an okay place for Dez Bryant, but I don't think they're going to get him. This team has a lot of weapons, not a lot of quality, but a good amount of quantity. They have Josh Doctson, Jamison Crowder, Jordan Reed. They just got Paul Richardson. They got Vernon Davis. They got a good pass catcher in Chris Thompson. They have plenty other running backs, a lot of weapons. I don't think they would get Dez Bryant, but this isn't a horrible place. I wouldn't be too shocked if they made this happen. I think they would want Dez Bryant maybe to take a little bit of a pay cut because they made so many moves, have so many weapons. It would be a lot of work to get him involved in that offense, but hey, it could happen, especially if Jordan Reed gets injured again. Number 8 is the New England Patriots, and I really want to say that I truly believe this won't happen, but what do we see Bill Belichick and the Pats do every year? They always shock us. They shock us so many times that it's almost expected to be surprised. We saw, what was the most recent shock Bill Belichick did? Not start Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl. That was crazy. Like, all the things this team does is insane. They cut what seems to be their best players. They sign what other teams think of troublemakers or players with attitude issues. Remember, they signed Chad Johnson. They signed Randy Moss when he was just seemed washed up on the Raiders. It was a weird situation when he was on the Raiders. That he goes to the Patriots, just becomes amazing. They're breaking records over there, going to the Super Bowl, almost finishing with a perfect record. So Patriots, I mean, Dez would definitely say yes to being on the Patriots, I think, because they're such a good team. I don't think the Julian Edelman thing has a lot to do with it. He's expecting a 4-game suspension. There may be an appeal there that it might get reduced, it might get thrown out, but it's really not the same type of receiver. Julian Edelman plays the slot, he's a shifty guy, and Dez Bryant's on the outside, so I don't think that has a lot to do with it. And the Patriots have a lot of weapons. They got Cordero Patterson, they have Malcolm Mitchell coming back, they have Chris Hogan, they have Rob Gronkowski, and even they got Jordan Matthews this year, so that's a lot of wide receivers. I don't think they'll go get another one, especially if they have to pay up. There's no way they're paying up for Dez Bryant. Now here's one that makes a lot of sense, but I'm going with my gut feeling here. The 49ers, I have them ranked number 7. They have the cap space, so they can definitely sign him. I just don't think this fits with what they're trying to do. They may see Dez Bryant as somewhat of a guy with an attitude and may not want him in the locker room. Now, what I am going to say, though, is if Pierre Garçon suffers another injury, this may be basically the end of his career if that were to happen. He's getting up there in age. I mean, I think he'll be good. Garçon, he'll be good. He'll be healthy. He'll still play a few more years. But if he does suffer another major injury, then the Niners will be a little bit desperate at that wide receiver position. Might go get a guy like Dez Bryant. Dez might say yes to the 49ers. I just don't think the Niners would go after Dez. Number 6, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Man, are they in need of a wide receiver, especially because they drafted Larry Fitzgerald, then they drafted another guy who's in the slot. They have former Cowboys wide receiver Bryce Butler on their team. They have Jerron Brown. I mean, it doesn't, other than Larry Fitzgerald, this seems like a pretty bad wide receiver core. I'd say the Cardinals would want to go get Dez Bryant. That makes a lot of sense. But I see Dez Bryant saying no to the Cardinals. No, I don't want to be in Arizona. Number 5, we have the Buffalo Bills. And I think the Buffalo Bills are kind of in tank mode. And when I say tank mode, let's put that in quotes, like tank mode. Like, I don't think any NFL team is purposely tanking or anything like that. But some teams have to think of the long term and the future more than the current year. The Bills obviously are not going to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, I know they made the playoffs last year, but LaShawn McCoy is getting up there in age. Everyone on their offensive line is gone. Their offensive line was one of the strong parts of their team, and now it's not. They're probably not going to have a good offensive line. Tyrod Taylor's not there anymore. They have no wide receivers, nothing. I don't think Dez Bryant would say yes to the Bills unless they offered him a handsome award for joining the team. The Bills do have the cap space though, and even though they may be tanking or looking for the future, I don't think they want to put that type of product out there. I mean, right now this could be a 2-14 type team. It could be really bad, especially if something were to happen to LaShawn McCoy. And I'm a huge LaShawn McCoy fan, but man, they really need a wide receiver really bad. They have Kelvin Benjamin, they have Zay Jones, who's doing a lot of weird stuff during the offseason. So I don't know what's going on with this team, but man, could they use Dez Bryant. I don't think Dez Bryant would go to Buffalo though. We're getting a lot warmer here, my top 4. So number 4, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Allen Hurns went to the Dallas Cowboys. So why not Dez Bryant go to the Jacksonville Jaguars? I know that logic doesn't make any sense, but it's just a cool, neat fact. You know, Allen Hurns is gonna take over Dez Bryant's spot. So could Dez Bryant go to Jacksonville? Jacksonville, we know they have a really good team, really good defense. Their offense is decent. They have Leonard Fournette on that team. I think Dez Bryant could come in and start producing right away. This is a really good situation for him. They do have a lot of quantity though. They have about 4 wide receivers who can start on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And like I said, they do have Leonard Fournette. I don't know, man. This is crazy. Like this is one of those things where there is a lot of situations, but Dez Bryant does have some leverage here, as in like he can easily say no. We know that Dez Bryant said that, you know, trying to find a team is the last thing he has to worry about. Teams have shown interest in him, but Dez Bryant has to say yes. This isn't a guy who's super desperate to join any team, would just love to be in the NFL. He seems like he wants to be on the right team, and he's working out and he's just waiting for the right time to come in. Number 3, we have the Houston Texans, and this is the team that I definitely see Dez Bryant saying yes. I'm sure Dez would love to play with Deshaun Watson. This is a really good team. They have a decent schedule. He knows he can go out there and beast against other defenses. The defenses would not know who to defend. Man, that would be a crazy team with Will Fuller, DeAndre Hopkins, and Dez Bryant. I mean, it's pick your poison on defense. Do you defend the speedy Will Fuller? Do you put your best corner on DeAndre Hopkins? And then you have Dez Bryant, who's a tough receiver, can get a lot of touchdowns, can get a lot of jump balls. That would be freaking insane. So let's see if that happens if the Texans go after a guy like Dez Bryant. Here's one of my favorite ones, the Green Bay Packers. And if the Packers don't go out and sign Terrell Owens, who reportedly just ran a hand-clocked 4.43 40-yard dash. Just joking, guys. But if they don't sign Terrell Owens, might as well sign Dez Bryant. They lost Jordy Nelson, but they did get Jimmy Graham. And here's the thing. Randall Cobb and Jimmy Graham have a history of injury. So if one of those guys get injured, I really do see them going out there and making a move for Dez. And I do see Dez saying yes to this. And I do see him possibly taking a pay cut to play with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you go from Dak Prescott to Aaron Rodgers. I can't even imagine how excited Dez Bryant would be just thinking about that. The Packers, they're ready for a Super Bowl this year. And I think they have a good team right now without Dez. But like I said, if Cobb gets injured, even if Montgomery gets injured, if Jimmy Graham gets injured, they're going to really need a player like Dez Bryant. They also have Devonta Adams, who's good. And they have Geronimo Allison, who I think is pretty good. But I think Dez Bryant would be a huge upgrade over Geronimo Allison. So that would be a nasty offense to defend. And number 1 on my list are the Indianapolis Colts. I think this would be amazing. Like I was talking about how Dez Bryant would be so excited to play with Rodgers. I'm sure he'd be very excited to also play with Luck. Luck does have some pretty good weapons. He has 2 good tight ends in Jack Doyle, Eric Ebron. He has a really good wide receiver in T.Y. Hilton, but I don't think the other 2 wide receivers are that good, Chester Rogers and Ryan Grant. I actually do like those 2 wide receivers, and I really do like Ryan Grant. I thought that was a great signing, but there's a lot of room for improvement, and if one injury just happens to one of those wide receivers, I don't even know who's going to be starting. You know, they lost Dorsett, they lost Moncrief, and now if they were to get Dez Bryant, that would really help out Andrew Luck. Injuries do happen in football quite often, so if one of those wide receivers got hurt, you got Dez Bryant ready to go, and just think about how Andrew Luck's numbers are going to look if they were to get Dez Bryant. And by the way, they do have cap space. They have enough money to sign Dez. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what team do you think Dez Bryant is going to go to? I gave you my top 10. I'd love to know what you think. Make sure you guys go to fameproject.org or just follow the link below in the description. And they have a Dez Bryant contract right now that you can buy. You can say, hey, I want to buy this contract where he's going to go to the Packers or the Bills, and if you're correct, you're gonna go ahead and win real money. So they have the Dez Bryant contract, they got the LeBron James contract, and a bunch of other ones. So go ahead and check that out. It also helps support this channel, and I'd really appreciate it, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel by hitting this couch icon here. Also hit that bell icon so you won't miss any future videos. Leave a like if you like this video. Leave a dislike if you're a hater, and I'll see you on the next video.